I want them to be the best that they can be. And that means I have to be the best that I can be. And that means you have to be the best that you can be. And everybody around here, we all gotta be great. At the end of the day, you know what's right for you. I'm a passionate person. I'm not saying I have all the answers. There's a lot of judgment and there's a lot of criticism. It's very hard. I like the smart, tough, sexy woman.
Jennifer.
Yes.
You were on the record with Fuse.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So the new album is called Love with a question mark.
Yes.
So how are we supposed to say that? Is it love?
Yeah, I know. You don't have to say, just say love.
Okay.
The question mark for me should have been a letter on the word to begin with.
Okay.
Meaning, it's just such a complex subject. That's always been the topic of all my songs, and this is no different, except I'm at a different place in my life. So I look at it in a different way.
You discover a new level of love via your children. You
Absolutely.
think that you're at that top when you marry somebody, and you have kids, and you're like, oh, there's this whole other...
There's a whole nother level. Yeah.
Talk about the love that you learned about in having you call them your coconuts?
Yeah, my coconuts. Because, you know, every morning when I go get them, they're like, had this little fuzzy hair, and it's just like that, just exactly like a coconut. I'm like, you're a little coconut. Yeah, and so it's stuff. Yeah, definitely. Once I had the babies, is when I started having all of these thoughts. And it's because of how I felt. Like you said, you feel this deeper love that changes your perspective on everything.
Yeah, you have kids, and you are no longer the center of your world.
No. No.
Now, you're a mom of 2. When do you get to be alone?
Very rarely. But I like it when I am.
I mean, it used
in
to...
the bath.
Right.
And even then, can I get in the tub with you? Okay.
I mean,
This is not what I planned, but fine.
Before you have kids, you go home and it's a sanctuary. It's quiet,
It's a
you're relaxed.
sanctuary,
When
yeah.
you have kids, you walk in the door, they jump on you.
I know, and you love it.
You love it.
You do love it. You're like, oh, okay. And then you're like, okay, let me sit down for 1 minute. And then they're like, no, chase me. You're like, okay. Or else I'm a bad mom. I better chase you. You know what I mean? Then you get the guilt. It's a crazy cycle of fantasticness and love.
So it's your most personal album yet?
I think so.
I mean, a lot of people are going to clue in on
A lot of stuff.
On One Love.
Why?
Well, you know, because you mentioned, you know, some previous boyfriends and Marc. And it's always interesting when you talk about your personal life.
Well, it's funny because they bought me that song in a very kind of demo type state. And it was very generic, you know, kind of asking the question, is there one love? Is there one love? And I was like, well, why don't we make the verses about different relationships and make it really kind of more personal?
Did you like throwing out there?
Just little things.
Little things. You know I was with him. You know I was with that one. You know.
Yeah. If you're smart, you pick up on it.
Yeah. And this album goes back to the dance club vibe that you really blew up on, right?
I mean, I always feel like there was 2 sides to me. There was like kind of the waiting for tonight dance pop side, and then there was like Jenny from the Block side. You know, the thing was, I wanted to do the same thing that people always knew me for. I just wanted it to be me today, not me 10 years ago. And I have to credit the producers that I chose to work with for that.
Your new single is I'm Into You.
Yes.
Featuring your favorite rapper working today, Lil Wayne.
One of them, you know, because I love Pitt too. No, but seriously, I am a fan of Weezy, of Lil Wayne. And I was like, you know what, we need to get Lil Wayne on this. And everybody was like, well, he's kind of hard to get. Is there anybody else? And I was like, no, he's the only person that I really can picture on it. I was kind of getting not all the love I needed from the people around me on trying to make that happen.
So the people around you were also like, really?
Yeah, they were like, well, okay, maybe he's tough to get. And then Marc's nephew, Develop, is a producer who works with him all the time. He heard us talking about it, and he was like, I could call him right now. And I was like, and me and Benny and Marc were like, really? And he was like, yeah,
Benny
really.
Medina.
Yes, my manager. And I was like, you can call Wayne? He's like, yeah, I can call him. I get Wayne, he looks at the phone, it says Wheezy, and he just, you know, it's like, they're like on a Wheezy basis and everything. And so he calls him up and he says, you know, Jennifer has a record that she wants you to get on. He was like, send it to me. So I call him, I'm like, hi. Lil Wayne? In his manner of speaking was very kind of like proper and polite. And
He called you Miss Jennifer?
He called me ma'am. He was like, I said, so are you gonna do it? He's like, yes, I'm gonna do it today or tomorrow. And 2 days later, he sent it back. It was done, and that was it.
On the Floor.
Yes.
Big, huge hit for you.
Yes.
When you heard it finally mixed and mastered, and did you say, yeah, this is it, we did it?
Yeah. When I first heard it, just the music, I was like, oh, this is big. Play it again. Play it again. I must have listened to it 30 times that night. Then once it was done, that's when basically L.A. Reid was like, I want to put this out tomorrow. He goes, do you want to put anybody on it with you? And I was like, if there's anybody, I think we should get Mr. Worldwide himself, Pitbull. Plus, I had worked with him before. So, and I knew we had good chemistry. When I heard that version, I was like, well, this is pretty special.
You talk about L.A. Reid. Everybody knows you changed labels in the
Yes.
making of this. Did the album change in going from one label to the next?
Some of it, yes. I bought the records that I loved and worked on, and those still are on the album, and then we kept going. L.A. Reid was like, I need Jenny from the Block. I need Ja Rule, I'm real, I need all that. I'm like, okay. He's like, who do you want? I was like, let's do Tricky and Dream. If we could do that, got in the studio with them for a couple of weeks, did a few records. And then he was like, I need Waiting for Tonight. You know what I mean? I'm like, I thought we were done. And he was like, no, we're not done. And so he was like, who? And I heard this record, Hypnotico, actually that Red One had worked on with Lady Gaga. So we got into the studio a couple of weeks, came up with 5, 6, 7 records, and the rest is history.
When it was announced that you were going to do Idol, a lot of
Right.
people said, is this the right move?
Right.
Okay, the verdict is in. The ratings are way up. You are fantastic for the show.
Thank you. When they bought it to me, I was like, no, it's not really something that yes.
Why not?
Because it wasn't in my career plan, you know what I mean? And I knew it would take some time, but then I just thought, I love the show. Maybe it could be fun. Maybe it could be a good thing.
People said, without Simon and that critical aspect and that snarkiness, it's going to lose interest. You guys, as a group, have been much more sympathetic and much more supportive. People like that better.
You have to realize they didn't cast a mean judge. They cast Simon. He was just who he was. Paula was who she was. Everybody who worked really well at it were just who they were being themselves. And I felt like, I'm just gonna be myself, and Steven will be himself, and Randy will be himself, and we'll just see how that works. And it works.
Even though you are sympathetic and supportive, you are part of all these people's dreams getting cut down.
Yeah.
And that bothers you, right?
Absolutely, especially when you get down to people who really deserve a chance, or, you have to really go, look, there's only gonna be one winner. That was difficult. It was awful. It had terrible moments for me, as people saw on live television.
No, you did. Baby, you did.
I didn't want to tell him no.
No, you so did. You so did. You really did. You said the just right, perfect words.
Did you foresee that the show would have a huge impact on you and your whole star went further back up?
I just really thought it's gonna be fun. I'm gonna have fun with this. I've been judging at home from my bed for years. This is gonna be so simple. And actually, there was parts of it that were fun and simple, and there was parts of it that were harder than I thought.
So when I think about you, I think about drive and ambition and somebody who is relentless, right?
Really?
And is going after it,
I kinda am, I guess.
And what happened or didn't happen as a kid that instilled this super high mega level of drive in you?
I was just always very disciplined that way. I liked to accomplish things. I liked working hard. I liked feeling like I was working hard. It made me feel productive and good.
Do you want to be a star, or do you want to be accomplishing things on your to-do list?
It's funny, celebrity's so different now than when I was like a little girl. I wanted to sing, I wanted to dance, I wanted to be in musicals. I wanted to be in the movies. That's what I wanted to do, and I didn't think of the fame part.
From how old did you want to be in the movies?
Probably about 5 years old.
Take me back to when you told your parents, I'm not going to college, I'm going to show business. And how was it received?
Well, I very distinctly remember waking up, and I had a dream that I was supposed to be in show business. I was supposed to be starting college in the fall. And I went downstairs and I was like, Mommy, Daddy, I have to talk to you. I really believed that I was supposed to be in show business. I had a dream about, and my dad was like, really? Okay. all right. And my mom was like, you're going to college. I was like, no, I'm not gonna go to college. And she was like, yes, you are. I think I bartered a year to kind of give myself a chance, and took a year, and I started working within that year, so it was good.
Do you remember calling your mom with a career problem and crying, and her going, don't cry to me, you wanted this business, toughen up?
Yes, but that's very much the mom she is, very realistic. Like, you think you're gonna make it in that business, then you better get tough. I was upset because I was on my first job in Europe, away from home for the first time. Nobody in my family had even ever gone to Europe except my dad when he was in the army or something. And so it was a big deal. And then I was in this show with all these people that I didn't know, and everybody got like a little featured solo moment except me. And I called my mom crying, and she was just like, don't ever call me crying about this stuff.
But it made you tougher.
It definitely stuck with me. But she raised us that way. She had 3 girls, and she raised us to be all independent, and that's how she wanted us to be. She wanted us to be self-sufficient.
You have 2 careers at once, the acting and the singing.
Yes.
Do they work together?
The thing is there's no way to separate it for me. You know, so whatever the pros and cons are of, you know, yes, it's great I have a movie career and a singing career, and sometimes they help each other and sometimes they hurt each other, whatever that could be, it doesn't really matter because I have to do both or else I'm not happy.
How did you get Selena? Because you had 3 or 4 movies before that,
Yeah,
where you were like 3rd or 4th actor in the picture. And then
right.
Suddenly you are the lead, and that's a huge leap. You already knew the director from a
Right.
previous film.
Right, I had done a small part in My Family, Mi Familia, with Greg Nava, and he was directing Selena. He said, I want to talk to you, and he goes, I cannot give you this part. In other words, you have to audition, even though I know you're a good actress. I was kind of caught by surprise. I was like, of course I'll audition. I want to audition, you know, and he's like, okay.
But it was a fight to get that role.
Oh, yeah. We had to do singing, we had to do the dancing, we had to do the scenes, and then they decided, and I got it.
When you get the call,
Yeah.
it's yours.
Yeah.
Did you know, like, okay, here we go? Because that is a massive breakthrough moment in your career.
Yeah, I think what I was thinking is this is a big part, and I just kind of entrenched myself in it because I wanted to do a good job. I knew it was a great role. I knew I was lucky to have it.
Your best performance of all time, in my opinion, and in many people's opinion, you know what I'm gonna say.
Out of sight?
Out of sight.
Yeah.
Out of sight.
A lot of people say that.
And you're extraordinary in that.
Thank you.
Why do you think that performance is such a standout?
I'm gonna be honest, I don't know. I really don't. My favorite performance of my own was in El Cantante. That was my favorite performance. That's where I felt as an actress, I really kind of embodied the person and told a story. I don't know, I think it had a lot to do with everybody who was around me. I think Steven Soderbergh and his style of filmmaking, being with George and the chemistry
Clooney.
that we had, I think it just made for a great role for me.
And you're playing smart and sexy and tough all at the same time?
Well, I like the smart, tough, sexy woman. That's how I think women should be.
If we listen to those records from On the Six versus the singer you are now, are you different?
Absolutely.
How?
I mean, I have a lot more confidence now. Marc really helped me with that because he was my favorite singer. And I went to him and asked him to do a duet with me.
Way before you're together.
Way before we're together. On my first album, he was working on his English album. He came over and he asked me to be in a video for one of his Spanish songs. And I said, okay, I'll do it if you do a duet with me. On my album, I'm recording my first album. And he was like, okay. And now I'm looking at like my favorite singer with the most amazing voice, and I'm standing here with the microphone. He's standing there with the microphone. I'm like, oh my God, I have to sing in front of this person. And he was like, it's in there. You just have to let it out.
Is it different working with Marc Anthony when you were just a fan versus now that you guys have a family? And...
Right. It's definitely different. When we worked together before, it was kind of like he was in love with me and I was flirting with him, and we had that kind of, you know, thing going on. So it was like nothing he did was wrong and nothing I did was wrong and everything was perfect, and we always made it work. Once you're married, it's like, you're not doing that right. You know what I mean? You could do that better. Come on. And we are more honest with each other. Now we accept each other for who we are. So the working process is different. I do know he has my best interest at heart. He does know I have his best interest at heart, and I want him to win. He wants me to win.
You guys have toured together.
Yes.
Touring is very hard and grueling.
Yes.
Is it easier to have your husband going through that grind, or does it kind of drag on the marriage?
No, I'd rather us always be together. I could never picture him going off on tour for long periods of time without us. It just wouldn't work.
Is there one of the kids who looks like you and one who looks like Marc, or is it a nice mix?
Everybody says, oh, Max looks like Marc and Emmy looks like you, but a fan sent me a picture the other day of me, and it looked exactly like Max. And then she sent another picture of me, and it looked exactly like Emmy. So I feel like they're a good combination. And then there's pictures of Marc when he was like 3 that we used on his birthday invitation. It was like, oh my God, that's Max. So I think they're just a blend of the two of us.
Interesting that you put them in the Gucci ads with you.
Yeah, that was a tough decision too.
Why?
Because Marc is very particular about that. I'm not as rigid as maybe his beliefs, but I do understand about exposing them in the wrong way. So when this came along, it's for UNICEF, it's for Gucci, and Frida Giannini is a friend of ours. And it was kind of like, do we do it or do we not do it? And he was like, I really don't want you to do it. I go, okay. And I talked to my girlfriends about it and everything. I was like, what do you think? I want it to be if I'm gonna do it, I don't want stun kids. I want it to be my kids. It's more personal. My girlfriend said to me, well, why don't you just tell him that? And I was like, trying to figure out a way to get him to say yes. And I told him that, I want this, I want this. I want them to look back on this and say, we did that with Mom. I don't want them to look back and say, who are those 2 kids with you? And he was like, okay. So we compromised.
But you see there how ultimately the mom and the wife is really in charge. Because he's like, I don't know about this. You're like, I want to do it. So we're going to do it.
We could have debated back and forth all day, and he would have stuck to his guns. But at the end of the day, when you're in a partnership, you have to care about what the other person wants.
Yeah.
And that was the only thing I think that I would have said that would have changed his mind.
I thought that you were trying to move away from the J.Lo nickname. Is that right?
No, there was a time when a few albums ago, I made a joke in an interview. I said, I think I'm gonna call this album My Name is Jennifer. And everybody just kind of ran with that. She doesn't want to be called J.Lo anymore. I really didn't mean it in that way, but it kind of caught fire.
But you're still cool with being called J.Lo.
Absolutely. When I'm in the street, it's not, hi, Jennifer Lopez. It's not that at all. It's like, J.Lo! Hi! Like, hi!
Are you still Jenny from the block?
What do you think?
I mean, I don't know. You have this really natural, down-to-earth thing about you.
Yeah.
But you've been all over the world. Could you really still be Jenny from the block?
Yeah, you can. I feel lucky that I never got kind of lost or caught up in a way where I lost sight of who I was, because this business can be tough. And it's a lot of pressure, and there's a lot of judgment, and there's a lot of criticism. And if you don't know who you are, you see what it does to people, this business. You see it. It destroys people. Breaks them down, drugs, alcohol, breakdowns, everything. But if you know who you are, then you can kind of always go to that. You know who I am, I know I'm a good person, all of this doesn't matter, I'm fine. So yeah, am I still Jenny from the block? Absolutely, 100%, without a doubt.
So, Jen,
yes?
we're out of time.
Okay.
But we're gonna continue this right now on fuse.tv/Jennifer Lopez. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
It's really lovely talking to you.
You too, thank you.